Now, as you know, today is all about digitalization, right? And when you hear the word digitalization, to us it is very clear it's one of those buzzwords, right? And it's not even new, it's been around for so many years. So today, in these next few minutes, what we would like to do is tell you how this is going to add value to your business, what we're about to speak about. New trends, technologies, they emerge all the time. So how do you know, how can you detect what is important and relevant to you and to your businesses? That is something we're going to look for in a moment.
Absolutely.
And to set the tone, let's roll our film, shall we?
Okay, we'll do that.
All right, that's to give you a general idea. And what we just showed you is something we like to refer to as the path to success, better yet, a day in the life of. We're going to walk you through, and to do so, it is now high time to introduce the advertiser and the expert by my side. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Head of Sales, Digitalization and Digital Services, someone who has an extremely long history with Krones of over 18 years. And each of those years, he spent about 3 months abroad taking care of customers' needs and getting to know the customers better and better as the years went by. That's what I call true passion for the job. Let's hear it for Timo Frankl.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for your time, Timo. Now, we did already hear yesterday on day one when we launched Ingenic with a big bang that it's all about commitment this year. And at Krones, at DrinkTech 2025, we are just taking our commitment to a whole new level. You are committing to performance even though you are not physically going to be in charge of operation. And that actually does sound like quite a risk.
It is. It might sound as a risk, Jasmine, but I can tell you we are taking that risk on purpose. We are willingly doing that. Why? Because we can trust, first of all, on the latest technology. If you see here our Ingenic here at our booth, it's a very high automated line with the latest technology that makes us sure that we can take that risk on our own. Secondly, we take that risk of commitment, and what does commitment actually mean? We guarantee actually what ends up on the finished pallet. We are doing that because of a really trustful partnership with our customers. Thirdly, we can connect to all the relevant equipments all the time, getting enough transparency to act whenever it's needed and to transfer that into the needed action. And last but not least, and what I'm representing, is basically the set of sophisticated IT tools we are implementing, and they give us the necessary action, they give us the necessary insights we need to optimize production.
Let's go into detail there. Allow me to latch on. These IT tools, these automation tools, what are the purposes they will be implemented for exactly?
As we see here on the slide, we are doing that for two major areas of our customer. First of all, production, sure, and also maintenance. And it's an integrated approach because we want to help our customers starting with planning their production, executing them, analyzing them, do effective maintenance, not only preventive but also condition-based maintenance, as we will see. So it's a joint journey, and this journey we will present today.
And I did say that today is all about the journey. It's about a day in the life of. You're the artist, so why don't you paint us the picture and walk us through these processes you speak of?
Sure. And here I would like to emphasize we have heard a lot of new technology related to Ingenic. But here I want to set the tone that this technology which I'm presenting right now is also meant for the multitude of customers we have outside. So not just the Ingeniq customers, but all our very valued partners all over the globe with traditional lines. And in order to present these technologies we are able to offer, I would like to take our dear audience on this journey. And this journey includes all the routines our customers have to handle in their daily operation. So it's really a day in the life of our customers, a so-called path to success. And to start with that path to success, I will now come into the details.
Go ahead.
So let me ask you, dear audience, what does every customer has to do beginning of a production week? Yes, it's planning, it's scheduling. Everyone has limited resources, so each customer is interested to find the best production sequence to make sure, do I have enough raw material on stock? Do I have enough capacity in my warehouse? How can I limit or lower my cleaning and changeover times? And outmost, how can I make sure that I deliver my goods in time? And our sophisticated production planning suite is doing exactly that for our customers.
So we found the best production sequence. What is then the next step after planning?
Let's come back to that journey. So we have now planned in the hopefully best possible way. Mm-hmm. Now it's all about executing, right? Mm-hmm. So with our line management system, we step exactly in here. Why? There is a lot of risk whenever you change from one batch to another one in setting the wrong parameters, using the wrong material, and the line management system is relieving the operators from this risk. We have an automatic parameterization based on the running batch so that the customer can benefit from fantastic features like tank exact filling, so that we only depalletize the number of bottles which are actually needed to empty the tank, or target exact filling, considering rejects in between. We can do automatic material requests from the warehouse, validating that with scanners so that only the right material is brought to the line, but also integration of inspection unit and printers so that you never do a miscoding on the pallet, on the case, or on the bottle. But outmost, the greatest feature of the system is the so-called flying changeover, enabling our customers to run 2 or even more production batches at the same time, a fantastic lever to reduce changeover times.
So we've planned, we've began with execution or executed. You also already mentioned supporting the operator. So what is the next step?
Yeah, we made up our minds here as well. When I mention shop floor guidance, I may ask you, dear audience, do you agree that we live in a time where it's hard to find skilled operators, where you have a lot of fluctuations within your stuff? Maybe experienced people have left the company, but on the other hand, maybe our machines get a little bit more complex than they were in the past. So the challenges for the operators become more and more. And here we step in with a shop floor guidance system that you can see here on my left-hand side. We guide the operators. So, for example, whenever there is a downtime of a machine, the operator who is responsible for that equipment is provided with a push notification. Hey, there is something you need to fix. Please go to that machine. So it's not just pure notification. It's also everything related to material provision and material disposal, when it's the right time to take away material. It's also prioritization of these notifications. And now it comes, we not only give the operators the push notification to do something, we also provide the digital content to guide them how to carry out the task. And last but not least, when we will talk about maintenance later on, we will see that this is the core module to provide condition monitoring, to go away from preventive over to kind of reactive maintenance.
There's also one duty that is the one that sounds like it's the least fun, right? The least of fun, but it is very, very necessary and important. When you've planned and executed and then also supported the operators, you got to look at the numbers, right?
Absolutely. We can't afford to waste any time and to live with scenarios where you push out too many bottles. So it's all about transparency. And this transparency should be used to improve. You need to put that into actions. And how can I get this reliable information automatically with our analytics suite? We not only monitor here every downtime and all the counters and analog values, we provide a set of sophisticated front ends like reports, dashboards, downtime analysis. But not only that, we also can do that for energy and media. Hey, we live in a world where sustainability is key. And coming to other functions as well, with this suite, I can really trace back all my products when I had a callback scenario, when I produced which batch, which ingredients flew into it. And last but not least, we offer each of you, dear audience, the possibility to integrate additional data sources so that you can do self-service reporting and you can compare across sites, across countries, and even across continents.
Let's say this, Timo, let's say you hit a minor setback or a little bump on the road. What if you as customers, as partners now say, well, I'm not sure we have the skill set or even the capacity to really make improvements based on reliable data. How can you facilitate here?
Yeah, that's a very important question. I still remember one of my business trip to an Asian customer years before. He said, Timo, you have a very nice data monitoring tool, but I don't have the skill set and the know-how and the capacity to drive that into actions. Can't you do that for me? And that's exactly where we step in with our so-called MSA performance program. What are we doing here? We are dedicating a line expert to this very customer, having access to the same tools that the customer is actually using. And this line expert is then clustering everything that he finds out, machine-specific downtimes, everything which is related in misbehavior of the line, material-specific downtimes, and then he's having regular meetings with our valued customers saying, that's what I found out, this is the proposed action, let's do it together.
And that is the facilitation right there. You earlier mentioned, Timo, maintenance is something we're going to circle back round to. Do you offer the same system or the same processes when it comes to maintenance?
Absolutely. As I said in the very beginning, as you see here on the screen again, we concentrate on two major areas. What I explained to you so far was production. Now let's come to the maintenance part. And even here, we are doing the same. We offer a bundle, not only an empty software. This is what many can do. But this maintenance software, as you can see it here, is filled with content. Yeah? The right actions, how to maintain, how to inspect, how to lubricate the machine. And again, here, we are doing the same. We are dedicating an expert helping you to schedule all these maintenance activities here.
There's one thing that everybody requires. I'm not even sure if you've mentioned it yet at this point, but what about the spare parts? How can you make sure that these spare parts are always there when they need to be and make sure that everything runs smoothly when it comes to that?
Spare parts are key, for sure, because when you find out that you don't have the necessary parts on stock, you risk production losses. So what we are doing with our joint maintenance management, we make sure that a critical stock is always available, and we refill that for the customer. Our production or maintenance system detects which parts have been used, automatically reorders this part from Krones so that they are shipped in a timely manner, and that is what is key for success in maintenance.
All right, so Timo, let me just gather my thoughts. You walked us through the production process. You told us about maintenance, but if we look at a shop floor, right? In all honesty, you know your business is the best yourselves. In all honesty, maintenance and production, these two things, they always sort of compete for time, for resources. So how do you make sure that there is not too much of a conflict between these two? And again, how do you make sure everything runs smoothly?
Keyword is integration. When I started with Krones, to be very honest, we had a multitude of IT tools. Every tool fits one purpose. Now, integration is key. The tools talk to each other. So I know exactly in my production planning system when the maintenance guy is shutting down the line because of an overhaul or an inspection or a maintenance activity. So they know what production is knowing what maintenance is doing, and only via integration we can make sure that the left hand knows what the right hand is doing.
That makes a lot of sense. One last field, I would like to shift our view one more time. We know that you offer a range, and we've heard today many times, an entire range of digital solutions, right? But there is one solution that stands out in particular, that is your condition approach monitoring. Your condition monitoring approach, I beg your pardon. The condition monitoring approach stands out of the crowd. Why exactly? What makes it so unique and so special?
I mean, I'm working for Krones since a long time, and there are a lot of complaints, to be very honest, to say, hey, Krones always is proposing to me preventive maintenance. So let me change the part according to operating hours. But let's be honest, parts last longer than maybe we think. So it's crucial to monitor how parts are lasting. Is the machines running still in the right behavior? Is there something I need to inspect to be prepared for maintenance? And our condition monitoring approach is doing that. How? In two ways. We have dedicated use cases for critical parts like servo motors, rolls, filling valves, where we can detect, hey, there is something to be checked. Maybe the part will break down in a few days or weeks. On the other hand, the customer is flexible enough to create his own watches. So for example, an easy example, I would like to monitor my compressed air in the blow molding machine. Is there a leakage which I don't see with a pure eye? And our system is detecting that. And that's the key, not only for preventive maintenance now, but for condition-based maintenance. And this is a great success we have achieved over the last month.
Can you tell what I was talking about when I said there's a lot of passion for his field? Can you feel, do you feel the passion even in the back, right? And can you see his eyes sparkle? This is incredible. My head is spinning, but in a good way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Timo, for sharing so many insights in such a short amount of time. I know it was only the tip of the iceberg, and you look forward to a conversation if anybody has any questions. But for now, I'd like to hand it over to you for your closing words, your final words.
Yeah, thanks for that. And to summarize again, what is different from previous DrinkTechs, from our previous booth showcases? As I said, integration. Our IT tools are now integrated in a way that they communicate with each other, and they are embedded in our machine technology, in the latest machine technology. And that's key for success. And I think we are the only ones having the necessary machine technology, the skill set to consult our customers, and these sophisticated IT tools. And you talked about passion. For me, it's very important that you get the feeling that my entire colleagues and my team is working with so-called Herzblut. That's our slogan for this year's exhibition. I brought this very hard, and I would like to invite you to come over to our booth to show you some of that passion. And we are here at an exhibition, and exhibition time is normally a time for special conditions, prices, discounts. Unfortunately, we are not selling kitchens and furnitures here, so I cannot really give that for free. But come with me, let's discuss your challenges. Let's go over to the beer tent even in a nice atmosphere. And who knows, after one or two beers, maybe one or the other special deal can be made. So feel welcomed. Thank you.
One last indication. Thank you, Timo.